Namaste. Welcome back, beautiful souls, to Monday Marseille. And today I'm going to be reading with the new choice, Tarot de Marseille by Rosario, Salerno. And I chose this deck for this episode. I really feel that it reflects the energy of strength and joy and the ability to own one's truth. The colors are bright, and it just feels very much like the heart of the lion. And so I offer up these readings from 3 clients today who are really doing their work. I think there is a fear of standing without a part of oneself that one has always identified with. That habit or shadow aspect of self, a behavior that sort of crept in and became part of one's identity. And so this client has faced and acknowledged and begun to make these changes, and yet there is some uncertainty around what their life will look like if they no longer identify with their, you can fill in the blank, past, shadow, challenge, and so forth. And I think this is a great question. And I also want to acknowledge Iris J. at Madrona Pulse Teachings for inspiring these series of questions that I worked with clients this week. And as always, I ask this message be in the highest for the greatest good, and no harm be done. So be it. I love the mosaic on these cards. Change. Change. Interesting card to come up here, this small wheel card. And we see different aspects of self balanced on this wheel. Our divine feminine and divine masculine self, both being a part of who we are and how we flow with the energy of life, and how we shine at any given time may reflect one or the other, and yet both are always present. That might be a great card to have in the center. So this is card number 3, card number 2. All right, so both in the suit of batons, we have the Queen and the Knight. I want to say that this is kind of a perfect reading for you. That having begun the early stages of embracing this change, you will feel more powerful. You will feel like you could take on more things. You can do more things. I wonder even if your energy level will feel stronger. Like you'll have more vital life force. If we arrange the cards 1, 2, 3, so the Queen is in the middle, then, well, the thing I wanted to look at was the direction that both of these court cards are facing a similar direction. They're looking to the right. This Cavalier of Baton looks like they're changing direction, which is really brilliant. And in a way, I don't really want to bring in Mother into this reading. I'd rather use the Queen of Wands as an aspect of you, an aspect of who you are and how you can be and how you can I mean, all of the queens hold space. They are wonderful space keepers for the development of their element. The Queen of Wands is strong and sexy and vivacious and adored in so many ways, admired and inspiring, right? She inspires so many to claim their fire. And then I'm kind of looking at this Cavalier of Baton and thinking there, wanted to use the word rookie, and rookie is a word sometimes I use with the magician, in that it's early in the development of the archetypes. There are endless possibilities, and yet sometimes we take a wrong turn. And this particular Knight of Wands feels young, feels kind of young. And there's a whole bunch of things that I'm thinking of here. One, that you are inspired to try new things. You are inspired to take new paths. So as you embrace this change, this reharmonizing of your life by not disowning your shadow, by knowing that you can walk proud with that aspect of yourself, that, yeah, you're going to feel a whole lot braver. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to hide. There's nothing you have to prove. You have an indomitable strength. And I think this is a beautiful integration of Leo season. We have fiery cards. We have a receptive card. And I like that we have two. We have a two. And so this is about embracing both of these aspects of yourself. So I think this is a great thing. It's not that you are going to need tons of time to recover and find your way. I think that you should be excited about this. This will spark some youthful and maybe unexpected surges of energy that will inspire. So good for you. Good for you. And I also want to say it's really been a pleasure to doing this ongoing work with you. Thanks. When I work with clients, I'm often looking at themes of the present astrological season, because I find that when we work with the energy around the time that we are, and this can be reflected physically in our bodies, it might be reflected in our community or family or the larger world, geography, politics, and so forth, then things are easier. It's easier to focus on what is relevant, if that makes sense. And joy, the idea of experiencing joy, moving from the heart space, living life. This is all part of the question of Leo season. And I feel that this particular person is having a hard time finding joy. And they almost feel as if, due to difficult family circumstances, that joy had to be compartmentalized, and maybe that compartment actually got tucked away, locked away, and the key was thrown away. And there's a sense of, I missed something. There's an aspect of my childhood, of my youth, that I wasn't allowed to experience. And there's a feeling that if I could discover that, if I could find that, if I could identify that, and we are doing other work to help unlock this mystery. But it's really interesting to see how the tarot responds to this kind of a question. And so I ask that grace is with us and supporting this beautiful soul. Okay, it's going to be really interesting to see how the tarot responds to this question. I have a lovely meditation that I like to do for this, and my goodness, the ability, what joy did I leave behind? The comfort, the freedom, the self-assurance to be who I am, to move how I want to move, to dress how I want to dress, to act as I want to act, to speak as I want to speak, to be vivacious, to be energetic and charming. The joy of self-assurance. Maybe somebody told you you were too big, you were too large, you were too loud, you were too much. You were too strong. You always wanted to take charge of everything. And you were really good at doing that. The joy of leading, the joy of guiding. This is a beautiful 8 of coins. Such an interesting response to these cards here. And when I think of these two powerful leaders here, both looking feminine, and I see here a 4 and a 4. And sometimes when I look at the 8 of Pentacles, I'm thinking of, well, I just had another vision as well too, but a table of 4 and a table of 4, 4 corners stacked like a 4 plus a 4, and that the 8 is a double 4, 4 corners of the building, like the strength, the foundation is getting stronger, coins being connected to the material, the present, the practical life, that the joy that you left behind is this strength, this assurity, this feeling that you weren't on quicksand, this feeling that you had this, that you could do it on your own. I feel like your power was taken away, and I don't even know if you remember a certain incident or a time. I know we have talked about this a little bit, but it feels like the joy of doing what you want to do, to be who you are, to be what you want to be. When you were a little child and somebody asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you freely could answer that question and own it and feel the joy that answering that question brought. Somewhere along the way, somebody said, oh, you can't do that, for one reason or another. And now it feels like you are claiming this. You're claiming this way of being in this world that you love and you stand upon. And it's interesting because I'm just thinking about how the RWS portrays this card, and there's so many beautiful ones out there, and there's something here about that, and it has to do with building and rebuilding and growing strength. I mean, this is Leo season, right? So this is also about self-assurance. And you have to laugh. I don't know if you watched the previous reading, but if you didn't, go back and have a look at it, because this card also came up in the previous reading. So a very important card, it seems, for this early part of Leo season. Thanks for being my client. For those of you that are following this series, there have been very few brave souls from watching on YouTube that have submitted questions. And I've been pulling questions from my clientele. If you would like a question answered, all you need to do is submit your question in the comments below, and I will answer your question in one of the upcoming Marseille Monday sessions. Last week, we had a couple of retirement questions, and this is a follow-up question to one of those. And it's not unrelated to the previous reading either. And this is about doing what I feel is best for my whole self, not what my family, my children, my parents, my partner expect of me. What did my days look like? What does this near, not too distant future look like if I really do what I want to do? And I'm sorry, some of these questions are rather ambiguous because I don't want to share too much personal information on YouTube. But both the querent and the reader, and I believe Spirit, know exactly, we all know exactly what the situation is. And I hope you can, even in some of these questions that are not your questions, you can begin to either be inspired by the nature of the questions, or they might be a trigger, not a trigger, but an inspiration for a question you might want to explore on your own. What does it mean? That's a really interesting cut of the cards. You know, sometimes it's just like magnet, the way that cards separate. What does it mean for me to move from the heart? Wow, we're getting lots of powerful queens here today. I talked about queens and environment. For you, I'm thinking this refers to setting up your space so you feel like the environment is yours. And what I mean by that is, I know you already have your own space, but I want you to own it and to make it exactly like you thrive in it. And when you enter that room, when you enter that space, you just feel so comfortable and happy. What does it mean for you to move from the heart? It means to create an environment where you thrive and you are in control. And then I can't help but thinking that this is also about you perhaps separating any joint accounts. This is about you having your own financial freedom. These are such pretty cards. Just want to zoom in a little bit. There's something really, I think, poignant in this Two of Wands. And I'm going to leave the cards exactly as they are. Well, I'm going to just bring something to your attention here. In this way, you have a particular focus. And it's not on these two wands, this Two of Fire. Twos are often reflected in relationship, and issues come up in relationship. And with Two of Wands, we could think about a passionate relationship. And I know that's not what you are experiencing. You have your back to that. Almost as if this X is covering all of that beauty that is behind it. Now, this is not an insurpassable X. It's only two wands. But I think this is really significant. Now, had I left this in the middle, like I often do in a 3 card, you would be looking through the coin to the Two of Fire and asking yourself about the relationship, the connection between your material experience and this Two of Fire. I wonder, is there a new relationship that I don't know about? And if there's any concerns about that and your independence, it's really important that you are clear on that. Because of the time of year and the astrological situation right now, I want to look at this central cup here and say that this feels really busy. This feels really overwhelming. Almost as if, I want to say this is you, and you are surrounded. And I feel like you have to prove yourself. You have, the space is really tight. It's like you want to run away. It's emotionally claustrophobic. And it's interesting how I started talking about your space and your environment. And I feel like you could use that just for your time, just for a place to get away and breathe and have a nap. Nothing significant needs to happen there other than to acknowledge you deserve this. So there's a theme kind of emerging here today, that this sense of independence is, and self-confidence is really important. There's a relationship. There's also, I want to say, a family. It might not be your kids and wife, but there's a family of people that I feel is, there's an intensity here. You know, it's an odd number. Do you feel like the odd one out? It's like this crowd, you're crowded, and it's time to move, to push yourself out. It's overwhelming. It really is. And it's okay. It's okay. They will not fall apart if you do. I'm just trying to kind of weave this together for you, and I feel like either way, however we set up the cards, your back is to this. And I feel like what I'm telling you, you already know. You've already decided to turn away from this emotional overwhelm, to declare your independence, because you're putting your focus on this new relationship. So what does it mean to move from the heart? It means, like I said in the previous reading, to do what you want to do, to build this, to develop this Two of Wands. I feel like there's some creativity here. There's room for creativity. If this is about the passion of a new relationship, that it need not look like anything you've ever had before. And I want to say perhaps that you've got this. You can do this independently of all of this. And I would love to see this queen stand up and walk in whatever direction they want to walk. I hope this helps. This doesn't feel like it's connected to anything that we have or you have shared with me before. So let me know, okay? Thank you. Thank you all for listening here today. And like I said before, please feel free at any time to submit a question in the comment section under these videos. Take good care. Namaste.